Welcome everyone to our homegrown challenge with the New York Rangers. This series we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to make it so that the only way to acquire players that we can get are when they end up starting off either on the New York Rangers or we've acquired them before the age of 23. If you end up looking into the history of the players that they have currently on their contracts, um, and all their teams, um, or all the players on their team, you look at the cap, like the cap that we end up having as well. Like you look at Panarin, Zibanejad, Strome, Goodrow, Reeves, Bleh, and I think McKegg and Rooney. None of those players end up starting their career on Rangers. I would say probably only 30.31 million of this whole cap is pretty much given up to players that they end up acquiring through trades, and around 18.83 million is roughly around the players that they end up getting by signing it, and around 20 million they end up getting with drafting. So I think probably one of the only players that are eligible on this team are Kreider, Cheadle, Barron, Lafreniere, and Gauthier, at least on the forwards. Their defense, at least, is pretty well homegrown. I mean, Trouba, we will have to get rid of. I think Lindgren ended up starting his career with the Rangers. He's also only 23 as well. Um, Nemeth, no, I don't think that we can keep him. And Fox and Miller. So those are probably going to be our two top players that we end up getting. I think Schneider as well. Tenorti was from Nashville, so we won't be able to get him. And Hajic, we will be able to keep him because he's 23. Um, if you look at Zibanejad, unfortunately, I'm going to say that we have to get rid of him. Unfortunately, we have to get rid of him because they got him 3 months after he ended up hitting 23. I know that's kind of like a technicality. Maybe that might be upsetting, but we probably should build without him. That's just how we're going to move with this series. In saying so, we're going to invest a lot into Lafreniere. Lafreniere should be in the league right now, a top forward. He should be on the top line. I don't understand why they don't have him in the top two. I understand he might be a little bit slow of developing, but that shouldn't matter. We will put everything full force into him to make sure that he develops into the star that he's supposed to be. Both goalies check out, so they can end up staying. But the rule that we're going to end up having is if we can't get rid of these players by the start of the season, that means through trading or whatnot, we have to let them go through. Um, we have to let them go through waivers. We won't be able to keep them. It doesn't matter. We just have to get rid of them. So Panarin will probably be the first one to go. We'll try and get rid of a Kreider. We'll end up keeping obviously because he started his career with it, and and we might as well just end up keeping him anyways for his career. He may not slot into the top line, maybe a top two line. So far, if you look at his production over the last couple of years, it's not what you would expect for a number one right wing. It just really isn't. We can quickly look at his stats, anyways. I mean, 53, that's probably the highest. Probably doesn't deserve 9.3. Or 9.5, I guess. Or actually 6.5 cap. So maybe, I mean, we could probably keep him, but I don't know. I think this is the biggest cap anyways. But we might do right by him and just keep him, but lower him down into the pecking order. Um, well, I guess we'll look at in terms of their depth. At least they get a first rounder. They have two second rounders. They have two fourth rounders and fifth. I mean, we're gonna do a quick history on some of their former picks, I guess. I'm gonna see if we can find it on here. They've only won 4 cups. They have not been to the finals since '95. For a team as big of a market like this, that is shameful. They should have at least been in contention at least once or twice since then, but no, they barely even made the playoffs in recent memory. I remember them being much more of a dynasty beforehand, but yeah, they haven't really won anything. There's one Lester Patrick in 1945 won 3 championships. So they haven't really won anything that crazy. I think since probably Mark Messier was with the team. Um, but this save we end up bringing back our franchise leader in terms of starts as a goaltender is Hendrik Lundqvist. So he's going to end up managing it. We kind of did a little bit of a profile for him, tried to do his best as to what we think that he would probably be. So it just looks at his player management, his negotiating. In-game tactics probably going to be a little bit different, but as you can see over the years, it ends up improving. His coaching rating, more defensive, more developing, and more kind of old school. So like developing talent as well. We did give him a little bit offensive. I know that's probably not what he is, but we're gonna try and change the way that we're doing everything. He's only 39. I mean, he could have probably still played a little bit, probably another year or two, but injuries end up taking the best of it. So we will work with that. Um, Draft history, I mean, just looking at it, they don't really have that good of a history in terms of drafting. Um, 2021, no one's coming through even this year. You have Lafreniere that ended up coming through in 2020, only 36 points, so in 106 games, that is pretty pitiful. He obviously has the potential, but I don't think he's put in the right spots. You have Kako as well, who is the second overall pick. He only has 54 points in 151 games, so they don't seem like they're very good at developing their talent. I mean, their last player that ended up probably doing anything really was Buchnevich, and they ended up trading away for Sammy Blais for basically nothing. Um, it doesn't really. I don't know. I personally would rather keep players that have that kind of potential. They just traded him away last year. I mean, Anthony Nuclair as well was another player that they ended up having. Um, but yeah, I don't think they haven't had too many starts in terms of their players over the last couple of years. So this is pretty much what we're going to try and change. One of the stipulations with also the 23 rule is we have to acquire them before they hit the age of 23. So if they're 23, they're pretty much done for us anyways. Because I think even in the game, they usually develop until 25 pretty much. And then after that, it doesn't really, they won't, if they didn't make it, then it kind of slowly reduces the chance that they're gonna end up getting their maximum potential. Um, so we can also in the stipulations of the rules that we end up setting is we can reacquire a player after we've drafted them or trained them up to 23, and then we can reacquire them even if they're like 32, 35. Any kind of age like that, we can still get it. So there's no rules surrounding that. Like we're able to get them as long as we end up drafting them, we can reacquire them at any point. With this, it's going to be a bit difficult in terms of waivers. I know in my other saves that I end up doing with other series and stuff, it's very easy to get players on waivers. Here, there's going to be that rule that you can end up doing, um, and we'll just stick true to it. So even if you look at players um, players in free agency right now, you have Musarov, who is probably that we would be able to get. Smith, we'd be able to get. Leona we'd be able to get, but we wouldn't be able to get any of these other players as well. It's pretty straightforward anyways, but we will try our best to try and get players that we need. So, like for instance, we'll try a trade here with the Anaheim Ducks. We'll see if they end up budging with it. So we'd be able to get McTavish and Zegras. So we will add, let's see if we would be able to get him for one of our top players. Then that would pretty much start the series off pretty well. Oh, Panarin has a no trade clause. Okay. So that might be a bit difficult. No movement clause. So we could probably, I mean, we can probably try and find a way to get rid of him, but he won't be able to start for us anyways. let's see. No, I'll have to do. Okay, Zibanejad. He has no trade clause as well. So even getting these players is gonna be this is gonna be a massive challenge already because they have players that have no movement clauses or no trade clauses. But I'm sure it's just for terrible teams. I mean, let's look at a bigger team here. Um, and let's try and trade Panarin here. So Panarin would be able to go there. So that may be one of the trades that we end up doing just to even get picks. I mean, I don't know how good they don't even have a first rounder. So they're already out of contention with that. So we will switch it to a different team. Maybe the Blues. Blues have a first rounder. They have around 8 million in cap. So we will probably try and do it with them. Panarin will go there. But right off the bat, we're going to free a ton of cap. So that is positive. So I think they can't afford to add that salary. That's fine. Let's add a player from Blues that's at least under the age. So we'd be able to probably get Jake Neighbors if anything. Um, let's see here. Like we can acquire them, but they just can't play for us. Let's try and get back Buchnevich. He's 5.8. That should be able to re-add it to us. I don't understand why they can't add that much to the salary cap. Robert Thomas also. Kyrou. Nope, we wouldn't be able to get him. Um, let's go for maybe Boduk. Um, all right, let's see if we can retain, even if we can retain half of it. Okay, so we'll do that for now. Let's delete him. We're not willing to move an elite without receiving something insignificant. Can't add that to the payroll. Okay. So already this is already proving to be a bit of a difficulty here. Just for these two, it's very likely they'll accept. Okay, so we can probably trade back for Buchnevich. Get their first rounder this year, next year. Yeah, and just kind of pray that they're gonna suck. Let's try and go for maybe a second. It's hardly okay. So this seems like one of the best things that they're gonna do. Okay, so we'll just do it for these two. Offer a trade, see what ends up happening. We'll offer a couple trades here. With most of our players, it's gonna be pretty intensive right off the bat. Um, but yeah, we'll try our best to get whatever players that we can, or at least the best players as well. Carolina would also be a good one, but I think they're in our conference, so we don't want to do that. Oilers could possibly. Let's see. Panarin won't go there. Okay. Colorado, yeah, I'm okay with sending Panarin there. No, you don't want to go to Colorado. That's that's outrageous. That is just that's crazy. I would want to go there. Looks like your team's pretty much set up. No. Okay, let's see if Zibanejad would go here. No. So it looks like our options are pretty limited anyways. Washington Capitals. Let's quickly look at who's in our division first, because we don't want to be building another franchise. So no to Hurricanes, no to Washington, no to Columbus, no to any New York teams, no to Pittsburgh, and no to Flyers. This already in itself is a um, disgusting division if the potential is all achieved. Um, I don't know. I feel as though we're definitely gonna have our work cut out for us in this series. There's going to be a lot of trading, probably the most amount of trading that you'll probably ever see just this year. But we're going to load up on picks. That is probably what we're going to try and do the best to our ability here. Um, so let's look at who maybe Winnipeg could actually. I don't know if they could afford it though. Yeah, so they can still stay in our AHL. We just can't start them. Um, so yeah, Panarin probably won't want to go here. Oh, he will go to here. Okay. No, I don't want to do that actually. That will be a little bit too complicated. We'll be taking a lot, and Tampa, Tampa I'm okay with as well. Okay, so they can't add that much, but we can take 50% and he still won't do it? Okay. Brain Point, no, we couldn't get him. Sergachev, no. Yeah, they don't really have any players that are under 21. We're hopefully going to get players through like drafts and stuff like that. Mainly aiming to get whatever players we can possibly get in the short term. But it's just going to be garbage. So I think Strom, yeah, Strom we can probably get rid of for nothing, I'm sure. Maybe he might give us a first rounder, but that's pretty much our best bet. I think we're offering, obviously we're offering way too much. You're offering it for nothing. Okay, so looks like they're interested. Chris Kreider will keep. There's another Lundqvist, but just different spelling. Is it Banajad? No. Panarin? No. Okay. All right. Let's look at players that we can potentially like. Truba, we could get rid of as well. He has a no trade clause. Oh my God. All these players, I don't even understand why you would build a team like that. Especially it's like a mediocre team. And then everyone else is just 2.5 stars. This is gonna be, we are gonna have our work cut out for us. That is for sure. Um, we'll do, we'll probably do most of this just off camera anyways. Um, and just try and just show you pretty much what we end up doing. Um, but even Zach Jones will probably end up starting next year anyways. But we have a decent amount of prospects anyways. I'm surprised this guy hasn't been starting. We should probably offer him a contract because we will need to. Oh, he's on the HL. Okay, so he's already under contract. All right, that works. Matthew Robertson, he's in the HL as well, so he's probably under contract as well. Um, but let's see if we can quickly look at our history here. If there's, I know you can look at it in terms of drafts, like you can look at it in terms of the NHL with history. I think it's here. Hold on. There we go. Does Rangers have the same thing? No. No, it doesn't really have the same thing here. No, it won't show us either. Yeah, but we don't really have that many good players that we end up getting anyways, so it's not like we're missing out anything. But if you look at, let's look at last year, I guess we could probably look at skater stats. I mean, Stutzel ended up getting more as a rookie than Lafreniere anyways. Oh, there's still Drysdale. I mean, we could probably go in for Drysdale as well. They might end up giving him to us. But we're probably, I think, up to maybe 2018. No, we can get these players. So we pretty much can't acquire anyone. Yeah, we can't acquire anyone in 2016-17, but we can acquire them in 17-18. So Nico Hischier, Nolan Patrick, those kind of players we can probably target. Even Cal McCarr, if we want to go all in for Cal McCarr, we could probably do it. Uh, Cody Glass as well. These kind of players. Brandstrom as well. 22. Just as long as we end up getting them before they end up hitting 23, we can definitely get them. Our goalies, I think, are pretty good. Um, we'll just take a quick look at them. I think 4-star, 4-star. We'll just look at our roster anyways. I know you saw it a little bit previously. Um, but yeah, we have potential for 5 stars. Then you have Zibanejad, which is the only 4.5-star. You have two 4-stars here with Scherstegen and Miller. Then 3.5, you have a couple threes, a decent amount of 2.5, and Tenorti. Why would he even be on your team? He's only a 1-star. Let's see if we can actually. I don't think we can do it. No, we can't put him on the thing. Um, no contracts. Yeah, we already saw that as well. Finances here. We have around 17 million in the cap. So that's a lot. So we can definitely play with that a little bit and absorb a ton of it. At least the patience is pretty high. I don't know why the expectations of playoff race when they haven't made the playoffs in 5 years. That seems a bit unrealistic. Um, yeah, the cap obligations are fine. They definitely have they do have a young group, but we're gonna try and do it kind of like the Miracle thing where they only had like 2 players that were 25 anyways. So we're gonna try and keep it young, keep the young talent that we end up drafting. We're gonna probably have to load up a decent amount on our coaches as well. Um, James Nolan, assistant coach. Okay, so we have around 1.5 million just for coaches as well. Benoit Allaire, decent. Decent for coaching goalies. Maybe Gord Murphy's not who we put for offensive coach. Here, we'll look at our roster now. It shows 23, so we'll kind of show what our lineups are going to look like now, and then we'll show it what it's going to look like after. And Sammy Blad, no. So far, this is roughly what it's going to look like. Lafreniere will probably be on the top here. And probably Kako. So we got to find, throughout all this, we got to find a center. Cheadle, I guess Cheadle will probably be either first or second. So far that looks like what ours is a 10. Oh, they're all screeners. Okay, so that doesn't really count. We have to change it to what they actually would be. But out of all these, it looks like I don't even know if we have 2 full lines here. So I think Goodrow gets to stay as well. Gauthier ends up getting to stay. So for argument's sake, we'll just move him here. So we got 6 players that for sure can stay. Is Barrow? Barrow's probably brought down. Then for defense, at least the defense gets to stay. Trouba ends up having to go. But it looks like we'll be able to keep the defense, so we don't have to touch them at all. So that's good. So it's at least 6 players that we end up having to get. Unfortunately, those 6 players are probably gonna have to be starters. But yeah, we'll end up doing that. We'll play another episode shortly after this when the season ends up starting, and we'll show you what we end up managing to do in all our transaction logs and stuff like that, and see what we were able to get for it. But yeah, that's pretty much going to be the basis of the series. Let me know if you want us to do more of a deep dive on anything else that we haven't captured yet, or any of the history that you want to know in terms of Rangers. We're going to do a little bit of research on that and bring in some interesting facts every single episode and just incorporate that. But this is going to be an extreme challenge. I'm going to try and do it as best as our ability, but as you can see, it's going to be a bit harder with players that just have no movement clauses. So even putting them on waivers is going to be impossible. They'll just be I guess, healthy scratches until we can find a way to move them. So, thank everyone for watching, and until next time.